Everyone, hope we're all well. Welcome to my business pharmacy. That's right, we have the business pharmacy here, and it's basically based on the fact that I have been running my own businesses for 20 years. And I want, well, not on the high street, Holly&Co. And I basically want to share everything. Good morning, everyone. Lovely to see you. I want to share everything I've learned on this, the business pharmacy, with you all. So for the next hour, Dr. Holly, let me just get my stethoscope. I'm going to be listening to your ailments. That's right. I'm here with the stethoscope, ready to de-jargon things that you don't understand. I mean, this is the whole point. Dr. Holly is here to help you with the un-googleable. That's the word. Remember, I always want to do a small business dictionary, the un-googleable. I want to jargon bust things. I want to basically have a laugh while we're doing it. But ultimately, I really want to help you guys. And I need to thank Dell, because guess what? Dell has made sure that I'm going to be able to do this for you every single Wednesday for the whole year. That's right, Wednesday at 12 o'clock for the majority of the year, I would put. But literally every single Wednesday, Dr. Holly, I'm going to be here for you. And that is thanks for our partners at Dell. And honestly, you know what I'm going to say here. There is a reality to working with businesses when you're in a position like myself, etc., etc. But what I always know to be true is that I only work with the most fantastic companies. And I have to tell you, Dell jumped at the chance to help you do this. Honestly, the team at Dell literally want to see you thrive. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So I'm deeply thankful to Dell for being able to do this for a whole year, guys. A whole year I'm going to be able to help you. So thank you, Dell, so much. So today we're going to be talking about how to protect your Instagram account, okay? Now, if we think about it, Instagram is the lifeblood of so many of our businesses. Oh, hang on a minute. Let me just take a little sip of my tea. Can you see what I've done there? Yes, we have designed a cup that actually works on Instagram for once, on Instagram Lives. Hang on. So cheers. I hope you all have your own cups of tea there ready for the session. Right, so we know Instagram is the lifeblood of all of our businesses. Let's think about what it does. It is the shop front. So if you don't have a physical shop, Instagram is acting as one of the first things that you will see, be it a business contact. I mean, hands up, how many people have made fantastic business contacts through Instagram? So not just customers, and we're going to talk about that, but actually connections. Could it be a new supplier? Could it be a stockist? Could it be a manufacturer? Could it be a shop? Could it be a craftsperson, someone with a skill that you need? Then let's talk about, so that's our business contacts. Let's talk about our customers. How many people are making sales through Instagram? Okay, so this is a vital part of your strategy. And then what about the fact that you can create communities? So if we're talking about the future of our brands, making sure that we feel really together, and that and I always talk about this, build a community through your business. This is what you're doing on Instagram. So, and what about also questions that you've not been able to Google, for instance, you spot someone else who works with their family. Everyone's going to have issues working with their family now and again. You've been able to reach out to someone on Instagram and ask that un-googleable question. So if we actually think about it, Instagram is way more than posting our 1% of our lives. Remember, 99% we would never post. Instagram is far more than posting images, far more than a creative melody. It is actually a lifeblood of your business. So let's think about it. What would happen? And I've said this before and I'll say it again. What would happen if you didn't have Instagram? What would happen if it was taken away from you now? I think about it. I think about over 100,000 followers now. If I woke up in the morning and someone from the team texts me to say, Holly, don't look at your phone, the community is gone. I mean, I actually don't even know how to just put it into words what I would feel, because we all know what it's taken to get here. So cold sweat would be the first thing that would happen to me, along with about 1 billion emotions. And so today, what I wanted to do is I wanted to talk to somebody, E from the English Stamp Company. I'm sure you all know and saw that, you know, they had that exact situation. And I'm going to spend some time with her talking about it, talking about the experience, but talking about what we can do. Now, don't forget, Dr. Holly's here with her stethoscope. I'm going to be answering all your questions as well. So just DM me, not DM me, sorry, comment below and I will answer as many questions as I can. If not, you know the Holly and Co team are magical. We grab everything that you're saying that I might not have covered, and we've got the whole year to get stuck into things. Right, so what have we got coming? Hello, Leafy. Oh, by the way, got new glasses. Bit boring, bit black, but I can now, see, it's got one of those things that, you know, goes from distance to sort of reading here, and I'm having real problems because now I think I need to read my things like this. So I'm going to have to go and talk to the optician about actually how to use these glasses. But anyway, I at least can see to start with. Hello, Leafy Lane. Love this. It's in the diary. Please do. 12 o'clock every Wednesday. Get it in your diary, guys. Do need designs. This is absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much, Holly. Pom plus Pom, always been a Dell lady. Brilliant company. Piece of Heaven. Hello. This is a great, this is great. Thank you, Dr. Holly. Of service. Wildlings Interiors. I think that's why my email subscribers are so important. Absolutely. We're going to get into this about the diversification of what we can all do. A lot of English Stamp Company love from the community. So this is fantastic. Right. So why have I got this business pharmacy? Why has Dell supported us doing this? Well, number one, I get to have props and I get to write out your ailment and I can prescribe you what you need. So actually, I'm really going to do this. So if you want to ask me your questions here and I answer them, let's see if I can get this little piece of paper to you by snail mail. Should we do that? Oh, not by snail mail. I'm going to be modern. I'm going to take a picture. I'm going to send it to you. Okay. So if you ask me your question and I answer it, this is coming to you. So, right, why am I doing this? Well, business advice, ultimately, and why I've written my book. Let's do a little book plug. Do what you love what you do. Please do buy it. Is because business advice has notoriously been grey and boring. And Holly & Co.'s mission is to take the bullshit out of business, make it colourful, make it less grey, make it not grey-haired men. Do you know what I mean? Let's make it sparkly headbands. And the fact is that business is fun. You know that. I know that. So why has it got such a bad rep? So what we're going to do is we're going to help you guys by not having you trawl through the internet. You know, you don't have the time necessarily to do this. You are trying to grapple with acronyms. You're trying to get advice, you know, but you don't want the advice to come back to you as if you are a contestant on The Apprentice. No, we want real advice so that we can absolutely move forward, cut the bullshit, less words, more straight to the point. Good straight talking. So basically, I also want to give you advice for the right side of the brainers, right? Because guess what? There's been so many left side of the brainers giving us all of this advice. We're not stupid. We just want to understand it in a way that we can understand. And guess what? We don't have time to read, unless it's my book and lovely books that we know from our community. We don't have time to read the grey and boring books, right? So thanks to Dell, again, that is what we're going to do. We are going to cover topics every single week, and please write in right now, what do you want to know? Because I represent the community. This is the #1 small business community now in the UK, guess what? So What are we going to do? This is for you to tell me, what do you want to learn about? So you can DM me. Lots of you have got my email address. Lots of you got hello@holly.co. Please email what you would like to know in these sessions. And I'm going to make sure that either it's going to be Kate, our coach Kate comes on. We're going to ask a lovely expert. We're going to ask people from this community. We're going to bring people in and we're going to all learn together. So, and also I need you just to hear this. This is an ask me anything type of scenario. There is seriously no stupid question here. If it is, I'll ask them, okay? So I promise you that. Ask the question you really want to ask. Don't try and, grey it up for me. I'm all about colour, and colour is raw. Colour is emotional. Colour is vulnerability, okay? And I need you to know that you're in a safe space here. Everyone, that stupid question you think you're going to ask, guess what? Half the community here need to hear it because they're too scared potentially to ask it. So have bravery, pull your bravery pants on, girls and guys, and we're going to get to it. So today I just want to start off with my news bulletin. And if that was a microphone, let me tell you the news here. We need to understand that the UK economy actually, I couldn't believe this. It shrank 9.9% last year. Now, if you don't know what that actually means, that is more than twice as much as previous largest falls on record. Twice as much, right? But that's the shit news. The better news is the economy is looking set to avoid the double dip recession that we all heard about on the news. Do you remember? I think it was lockdown 1. That not only were we dealing with the pandemic, we were also dealing with a crashing economy as well. Now, let's remind ourselves what a recession is. A recession is when the economy gets smaller in 2 consecutive quarters. And remember, quarters are just quarters of the year. Lots of people say, Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. That is how, in business speak, you can just divide up your year. And then a double dip recession is when the economy briefly basically recovers from one of those moments of 2 consecutive quarters going down and only quickly to shrink again. And that's what you do not want to happen. But it's looking like we're going to avoid it. And let's just touch on a few dates as well for the roadmap. We're going to hear more on the week commencing the 22nd of February. So put that in your diary. This is a very, very big week for us because we have got a phased plan that is going to be told us. So think about that. 22nd of February, you're going to know much more about your kids, your work, your life. March the 8th, schools open. Fingers crossed. Harry keeps telling me that he knows better than the government and that the schools will not be opening up. And that will be wishful thinking from my son. End of March, start of April, non-essential shops will start opening. Then we've got early April. So think about this now. The daffodils are out. Sports such as golf, tennis resume, and holiday lets and larger hotels will open. So if you haven't started booking something for this country, I would advise probably not to go abroad, but get booking. Early May, so we're now into spring. It's becoming lighter. Pubs. Yes, pubs and bars and restaurants will open with a maximum of 2 households allowed to sit together indoors and a rule yes, so that's not in pubs. 2 households can sit together and the rule of 6 will apply outside so we can go for walks with more people. Early June, we're now getting into the summer months. The rules for pubs and restaurants will finally be relaxed. So it's going to be a pim-tastic summer. That's all I can say. July, hospitality and domestic holiday industries will operate as normal, but with social distancing, right? So don't worry. I'm here every week now. I'm going to give you the latest news so that you know what you're talking about. That's just basically everything you've heard on the news. I've just summarized it. Right. So we've got some questions coming in. The finicky friend. I really struggle knowing what to post on Instagram as mine is a service rather than a shop. Okay, well, I'm going to answer that question before we talk to Eve. You've got a service rather than a shop. Well, that's absolutely fine. always imagine every business that we're going to talk about. It doesn't matter whether you're a service or a product offering. You still have the same thing. There is a founder, there is a story, there is a brand, there is a uniqueness to your business that only you do it in this way. And as I always say to you, if there isn't those things, if I scratch the surface of your brand and it doesn't sing, if there is nothing really that more interesting than the logo and what you're selling, you need to just take yourself back to the drawing board a little bit and start to build in the interestingness of your company. Because brands, so businesses, have to be alive. Think of it like a human. A human has to have a beating heart. It has to have a tone of voice. It has to have a big smile. It has to have a great big warm hug. It has to love sports. It has an interest in animals. It loves birds. It loves hairbands. Whatever it is, I want you to think of your brand in that way. Now, when you're saying that you have a service rather than a shop, well, I didn't say that any of those things that I just spoke about only were for those who had a product to sell you, because a service is a product in a way, isn't it? It just happens to be invisible when you transact on it, and actually it's something that the customer does. So I want you to not look at services and products in a different way. It's all a product, but what I want you all to do is make sure the brand is a human thing. And I talk a lot more about that in my book, actually, when you actually consider what would be your head, what would be your heart, what would be your oxygen, what would be your blood, what would be the uniqueness to your smile, how would you act, how would you laugh. These are all things that you must take into consideration. So today I'm going to talk, I hope that helped, by the way, I hope that helped, but this is what I'm saying, it's going to be un-googleable. I'm going to talk from the heart, I'm going to tell you the real stuff, because every brand I have built, I hope you felt something about them. I hope you love them. And that is the difference between just a logo and a company name and something that is very, very strong. And it's commercial as well. The moment you start thinking about it before you see something or someone mentions the name of the company, but you feel something, you're onto a good thing. So we're going to talk today about how to protect your Instagram attack. Attacks on Instagram, they are rare, okay? So I don't want you to freak out here. They are rare, and they're rarer than any other form of a cyber attack, but they're on the rise. And they're on the rise for people who have built their entire businesses on Instagram, okay? And it is integral to your business. If it's integral to your business, okay, so remember the cold sweats we spoke about? If it's integral, then you're going to be a prime target. And that is the truth. If they know that everything you do is on social media and on Instagram, then you're going to be top of the list to the assholes who hack in. So think about it. If you didn't care if it was gone, you wouldn't pay to get it back, right? And actually, we're going to talk about this because actually that's what's going on here. When people attack you, they're going to ask for money. And you're going to say, right, I have £3,000 that I've saved in my company over my good Christmas. I have to have it back. Maybe I should pay it. And it's all going to be about this conversation. But I need you to never get to that position in the first place. So by the end of the session, has everyone got your pen and paper, okay? Pen and paper ready, because we're literally going to tell you what to do, okay? And then I'm going to story things afterwards so that you can, in your own time, do exactly what you're going to need to do, because this is going to be on your phone and you're going to need to tap, 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 tap. And by the end of the day, I'm going to set you a piece of homework. So today you're going to hear about the steps that you need to protect your Instagram account, okay? Which I've got from my contacts at Instagram. I've been talking to lovely Gord, if you all remember Gord, who has basically helped me give you guys the tools that you're going to need. He's sorry that he couldn't join us today, but he is going to join us in one of our sessions over the year. What things that you can do to ensure your content and your community, and how to react if the worst does happen. So here we go. We're going to now talk to lovely Eve, who is an honorary founder. You know, she's not the founder, but she's an incredibly loyal and beautiful person of the English Stamp Company. And here she is.
Hi, Holly.
Hello, hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. This is great.
Oh, well, thank you so much for joining us. And I'm just gonna remove my stethoscope for the moment, just because it's slightly choking me, but that I won't need it for our session. Now listen, before we get into this, firstly, thank you so much for joining us. And I would love just to, I know everyone knows you guys, but for anyone who doesn't, and my entire stationery cupboard, which I do have, is just full of your stamps, always has been. Tell me about the English Stamp Company and what your role is.
Okay, so yeah, I've worked for the English Stamp Company for 8 years now. But when Sasha and John, who started the company up 29 years ago, when they were starting the business up, I was babysitting their children. So yes. So although I've only worked for them for 8 years, I've been there since the early days. So
yes,
and it is very much a family business. Sasha takes all our photos that you all see on Instagram. John is the engineering brains behind the business, and their daughter Bella is also a key member of the team. And she and I do a lot of the social together. So I manage the English Stamp Company. It's a very small team, and so we all are quite hands-on. I'm office-based, home office-based at the moment.
yes.
And Bella and John are making all the orders and getting those out. And like I say, we do a little bit of everything. I do some of the designing, I do a lot of the processing the orders, answering emails, the social, all sorts, including making the stamps from time to time as well.
Well, that does actually sound like a quite multi-hyphenated job there. A little bit of absolutely everything. And I love that. You know, so many people, they worry about how they started into a business, do you know what I mean? Or started the business, you know, and there's so many wonderful stories about how people, you know, it's all about connection, isn't it? You connected with the founders, and it doesn't matter what you were doing, you've ended up now basically helping them run the show. And I would love to ask you this. So over the years, you built up a loyal following on Instagram, myself included, everyone I know included. Can you tell me how you use Instagram? So before we go into the story, how do you actually use Instagram? And is it integral to your company?
Absolutely, yeah, it's key. And I think, well, like you said earlier, it's our shop window. You know, it's an online business, which has always been good for us, and we've only ever been online. We've never had a shop front, and we're tucked out in the middle of nowhere, so it wouldn't be a very good idea anyway. We're not moving. And so the Instagram, we were a bit slow to the party, to be honest. We've probably had our account for about 8 years now. But it's everything. It's our shop window, it's how we promote, it's how we communicate new products, it's how we get our inspiration as well. It's really good for keeping up with key trends and seeing what's going on out there. And that community, like you've said, interacting with customers. We never used to get to see what happened to our stamps once we posted them out. And the stories and the posts that are shared now, it's just incredible, and we love seeing, and we're often inspired. You know, we'll design a stamp and we'll create a post and we'll do a nice little photo and feature it, and then people will order it and we'll see what they do with it, and we're like, wow. So that's better than we did. So,
it's amazing, isn't it? And I think about my own way of using it. So, you know, as you said, you know, it's about your proposition, isn't it? As a business, you can really sort of tell people more about yourselves, especially if you're in the creative world, through the visuals. If we actually think about it, you know, we give advice and inspiration through it, we promote things through it, we connect with people. Also, I found myself connecting on DMs more, you know. I'm using email less, and I'm literally leaving voice notes for people. It's a way that it fits into my life, as I'm sure yourself, as busy people. It's a fantastic tool. So, and then last August, so we talk about how important it is. You had that moment, which I literally am having to touch wood while we speak. your account was hacked and held to ransom, which seems far-fetched, right? And yet it's happened, and it's actually happened to many people that I know. I remember the Pig Hotel, Robin, who's now a friend, and the team, you know, dealing with this. It's can you talk us through literally what happened? So did you just wake up in the morning and
no, it happened in the middle of the day. So I was working from home because we were in lockdown again. John was in the workshop making and posting out orders and things, and Bella had nipped off to the beach because it was a lovely day and it's only 10 minutes from our office, so she'd gone. I know,
yeah, just drop that in there.
Well, there's got to be highlights. So I I went onto our Instagram account, and it wasn't there. And then I went into our emails, just thought, oh, my phone's playing up, didn't really think much of it. Went in to do some more work emails and saw this email saying that somebody had tried to log into our Instagram account, an email from Instagram. And I was like, oh, weird. Well, you know, Bella and I have both got multiple devices. Maybe it was one of those. And then we had another email from Instagram to say your account, your handle name has been changed to gobbledygooch. And then we got another email from Carlo, probably a bot. You know, you have to just dehumanize these emails, saying that he was really sorry for the inconvenience, but he was holding our account to ransom. And if we didn't respond within 2 hours, he would delete all of the content and our account would be gone. And we were really close to about 28,000 followers at that point. And only the day before, Bella and I had been having a big conversation about, oh my gosh, do you think we could get to 30 before Christmas? We'll do a big giveaway and try and promote, and this is so exciting. And then nothing. And so I'm messaging Bella on the beach, and she's panicking and I'm panicking. And Sasha understands, who takes all our photos. Sasha fully understands it, but she's not really office based or anything. John hasn't got a clue, you know, it's not his thing. Yeah. So he didn't really understand the gravitas of it, and I was just like,
how did it feel, Eve? How did it actually?
Awful. Absolutely.
Like, what were those emotions that came through? Were you? I mean, one of the words I would use is I would be utterly panicked.
Yeah, it is. It's panic because there's also this time frame that they've set for you, and you're also thinking, you know. So we're frantically trying to search tags that we've put on our photos and posts, and trying to see what have they changed our account name to so that we can get in and find it. And then I was still logged in on my account, so I could see that I was following on my own account. I could see I was following the English Stamp Company, but it was called something different. But we just couldn't work fast enough. And Bella left the beach and came back to the office, and it was just all encompassing, frantic, and we were messaging each other through till midnight, just trying everything. And obviously we, you know, your first port of call is to contact Instagram, and that's not very easy. So, and understandably they don't have a telephone number, they don't have an email address, but we went through all of their help center, and it just felt like we were going around in circles. Every time you go through all the stages, and then you'd come back to the beginning again and say, you can't find your answer here. And we got,
and just to add to that, it's like we're used to a day and age, aren't we, that we can just somehow we can find an email address or a telephone number, aren't we? We're so used to that.
Yeah.
Businesses like Facebook, Instagram, Amazon, these types of companies, you're not going to be able to do that, you know. And you know, we wish we had lovely Gord from Instagram came on and spoke to us. You know, we all wish that you had a contact,
direct line for Gord,
a direct line to someone, because this is life and death at the moment you're talking about.
It really is.
You're literally going, what do we do? Someone contact me. And actually what we need to know, potentially for those listening, is you will not get a response from Instagram. And this is why today's discussion, isn't it, so important?
Yeah.
Because we're going to talk about what we can do, but actually the ultimate thing is, do not anyone think that you're going to be able to magically get Instagram to help you.
No, we got one email from them about 2 hours in saying, I'm afraid your account's been deleted and cannot be retrieved. Sorry for the inconvenience.
Yeah.
Like, that's not enough. That's just, it's not an inconvenience. It's devastating. And we decided, you know, immediately that Carlo isn't a real being and there's no point communicating with him at all. We didn't respond to any of the emails. And then Carlo was replaced with another person, and they were messaging saying, you've got 30 minutes.
And how much were they asking for? Do you mind me asking?
They didn't message with a sum. It was just, you will need to pay to retrieve your account. And because we didn't interact with them, we never found out how much they wanted. But
and did you decide that? Did you actually decide we won't be paying?
Yeah.
Like you just knew that that wasn't, because you know a lot of people do. You know, if someone said, "Okay, I need £500, I need £1,000," they might be going, you know what, I'm just going to pay it. But
absolutely, because to all of us, you don't
know if it will stop, right?
No,
you don't know if you'll pay the 1,000 and actually it will become 5,000 in the next minute.
Yeah, and if you put a value on our 28,000 followers, they're worth £5,000, but
oh yes,
you just know it's not going to end there, so there's no point getting involved with them. And so we then had to sort of, we've been told by Instagram that it's gone. We're done. We've got to just pick ourselves up. So we started a new account, and we, instead of English Stamp, we did English Stamp Company, because we wanted the same beginning when people start typing looking for us. And then before we set it live, I was posting loads and loads of Christmas photos in August because I wanted them on there, and trying to build up a bit of a feed and start that. And then we were overwhelmed by the community response and people like yourselves sharing it. And, you know, we've got some lovely followers by Laura McDermott. She shared it on her stories, and we've got a lot of her audience, our audience. Emily Coxhead with the Happy Newspaper, brilliant shout out from her. And we sort of started seeing the followers come trickling back in, and we were like, oh, this is, and it was that lovely feeling, you know, the early days when you've got 500. Yes. And so Bella and I were then planning, oh, well, we'll do 1,000 follower giveaway and a 5,000 follower giveaway. And we went to bed and woke up in the morning and we were back up to the 1,000, and it was incredible. We always do really well with the dog people, the dog followers, and Dandy Dog Company shared us, and their audience just swarmed in, and it was really heartwarming and really lifting in such a dark moment. But then you know, you've still lost all those other things that you don't think about. You just think Instagram stories, posts, photos. You forget about how much you use it. We use it as a directory. If we need to find somebody, you don't need to necessarily know their name. You can just start putting a few letters in and they'll appear, and you can search your message history with them. And it was just things like that. We were like, oh, we need to refollow this person and that person. And we were like, well, I can't remember. And there's people that will be major importance to your account, and you just can't think of their name.
Yes.
And all those photos that we've been tagged in.
Yes. It's so many things, isn't it, that we don't realise. You know, it's also, for me, it's, you know, I remember the first post I put up there. You know, it's the history of my business. You know, it's the history, it's the team, it's the little things that you've done over the years, and you watched yourself mature and grow, and it's just that. And if you can imagine, guys, this thing being taken from you, and I know that you know, I was straight on it. I know so many people were to support you. Tell me about, though, what it has a happy ending, doesn't it? Because basically you did get your original account back.
We did.
And what have you done differently? Because I'd love that part of the story, and then I'd love to just talk about those 3 steps that we can all do to protect our account.
Yeah, well, we were really lucky, and we did get our original account back, and it just so happened one of our neighbours is a BBC employee, and so they got the BBC on the story, and yeah, we got it back, and it was brilliant. But by that time, our new account was up to 16,000 followers, and we in a week. And we were just like, well, what do we do? Because these people have really engaged with us, and will they all come back over if they were new? And it took a lot of thinking, and Bella and I talked about it an awful lot about what we were going to do, and in the end we decided we wanted the original account back, and we could share stories on the second account to say come back over. So we got the old account back up and running, which was just brilliant. And it was a bit like a clean sheet. So it made us very mindful of our security. We did a big overhaul. We got a larger hard drive, external hard drive in the office. We had somebody come in and go over all our security.
But generally, are you talking about it actually doesn't put the nerves up for everything that you have, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We were just full of the EBGBs and we wanted everything sorted. So yeah, we overhauled our security. We changed all our passwords. We were awful, you know, we had very generic, same passwords here, there and everywhere. And never really thought much about it. And, you know, the two-factor authentication, which I hear about it all the time now, but we just didn't know and we didn't have it. And it is just, it's a click of a couple of buttons and we probably would never have been in that situation. So that's the key thing, is get the two-factor switched on.
And can I just add to that one moment? Is it, so for everyone with their pen and paper right now, with hopefully an English stamp stamped on the top of your notebook, I'd like to just say three things. Basically, strong passwords. Eve's just said that. You know, some hackers will look out for clues about your passwords. So if you are posting a lot about, for instance, your dog and their name, and that, funny enough, is a lot of people. I know a lot of you right now. Go on, do hearts if your password for your kids or your dog name, right? They know that, they're smart. So if you take anything from this, number one is change all your passwords. You need capital letters, you need a symbol, and you need letters and numbers in all of them. Number two, two-factor authentication. I'm going to talk about that more in a second, exactly what that is. And we're going to story after this live exactly how you do it. As Eve said, it is tapping some buttons, but we're going to show you, because Instagram have sent us screen grabs of exactly how you're going to do it. And the third is never give away your password to anyone, because Instagram will never ask you for your password in DMs, in comments. They'll never ask it. So if someone is appearing to be Instagram asking you for your password, ignore, because you're being hacked. Is there anything you would add to that, Eve?
Yeah, we discovered when we were looking at the two-factor in the security settings that there's also a backup button. We'd never pressed that before either. And you can click the backup and it takes up to 48 hours, but Instagram will export and send you in an email everything you've posted, all your photos, all the comments, all your messages, everything. So we're now doing that, I mean, probably every couple of months, because we're not posting huge amounts on there, but it's just, we've got it saved on an external hard drive, and if we'd had that, we could have just flooded that all back in, you know, and had all that information and been able to look through it. So, but until we've been into security and changed passwords and things like that, but we'd never even acknowledged the fact that there was a backup button there.
And I would just go into that is really interesting, and I know we do that, but the external hard drive, that's a really interesting point. For anyone who's going, what the heck is two-factor authentication? Basically what it is that you'll be asked to enter a special login code or confirm your login attempt each time someone tries to access Instagram on a new device. Okay, so anytime anyone tries to access your account, you will be notified on your device that basically someone is trying that. There's some stats, something like it's 98% security, as in people can't hack you if you have this in. So if you do not want what's happened to the English stamp company, and thank goodness it had a happy ending, but for many people it doesn't have a happy ending. But basically you all have to do it. You all today have to put on two-factor authentication, because then this cannot happen to you. And it's simple, right, Eve?
So simple. Yeah, it is. You go into your settings, you click two-factor authentication, it asks you to set it up, and you can set it up as a text message that will come through to your phone, or you can download an app that generates a code. And there's lots of different apps which we use for work, because there's multiples of us using the same Instagram account. But yeah, it takes literally seconds. You go into your settings, you go into security, you click 2 buttons, you enter a code, and you're good to go.
It. And imagine what we spoke about at the beginning of this session about how we rely our entire businesses on this, and yet we won't spend a few minutes, but I know everyone will now. And also just tell me about what other things that you might have done. Have you put more prominence on your emails? Have you put more prominence on other areas because of that? I know you've now got it protected, but it does give you that sort of kick up the butt, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, we've got it protected. We actually had, because we do exhibitions each year around Christmas, we always collect email addresses from people that come to the exhibition. We run competitions and things at the shows, and we gather emails. So our newsletter our mailing list is actually really, really strong. So we were just so grateful that we could send a newsletter out to over 20,000 of our members on our mailing list and tell them. And that was another thing that we were like, oh gosh, how do we word this? We don't want to send an email out with the word hack in it.
No, I
So I think we titled it something like, we need your help, and then we put some information in the email. But a few people were still dubious and emailed us separately to say, is this true? Should we do this? So yeah, having an email list. And I know when people run giveaways on Instagram, they often say, you know, follow for an entry and things like that. But I don't see there's anything to stop you from saying, sign up to our newsletter to be entered. You know, you can still use Instagram to gather those email addresses and build your mailing list, because that was a huge thing for us, having that many people.
Yeah, and I think that's absolutely the moral story, isn't it? Is let's not put all our eggs in one basket, even though Instagram is such an important part of our businesses.
Yeah.
We've got to work the muscle of other areas. And just because it is easy and it's working, it doesn't mean that that is the right formula for your company and will have you in the long run. You need to be able to, like the English Stamp Company, go to your 20,000 email subscribers. Ask yourself, how many, do you have an email? Do you have email subscribers? You know, if not, if something like this happened, which it won't, because you will have two-factor authentication done by the end of the day, but basically have that in your mind, write that down. What else? Not all eggs in one basket. Eve, I'm going to say that I've got to answer some questions in a moment, but is there anything else that you want to tell the community that you've learned about this experience?
Well, just that we got over it, you know. When you guys asked if we would join you for this, I had to go back. It was only August, but I actually had to go back and look up my notes and watch, you know, the videos and things that we shared at the time, and remind myself of what happened, because a few months on, you know, we're over it, and I think we've actually come out better from it, because the community rallied so strongly, and we were just so grateful for that. So I think, you know, that's you can overcome it. You can overcome it. Yeah.
And you know what, another shout out for the community, you know, that's exactly why we're all together, and why actually our Instagram communities are so important, because we have each other's back.
Yeah.
And Eve, thank you so much for your time today.
You're welcome.
You've helped us so much, and I'm so glad that it was a happy ending. And thanks again.
Thanks so much, Holly.
Thank you. Take care.
And
bye
you.
bye. Well, brilliant. Isn't that great to actually have it firsthand explained to you, the shocking feeling that you feel? Let's read out some of the comments here. Hendog Designs, I love a community spirit. There was so much love coming out during that for English Stamp Company. Sapphire Glass, that's really wonderful to hear. Proves that it's the people that make the community and not the site. Absolutely. Bobby, Bunny and friends, thank you so much for this. I'm definitely adding the two-factor authentication when I get off this. Dinky Artist, absolutely brilliant advice, and wow, that is an amazing conversation. Thank you for sharing all these great insights. Emma G, you also need to remember to make a note of your verification codes once two-step authentication is in place. I have two-factor, but had a scary few hours when the login code didn't arrive. That is a fantastic piece of advice. Coco draws stuff. I don't know why I didn't think about doing this sooner. So helpful. Right. So let me just see if I can answer a couple of questions here. SP Illustrator, I feel like my Instagram's not engaging enough. I don't know a good way to make it interactive, as I have just been posting the last images of my drawings. Well, I get that question quite a lot. I think some of you who have heard me rattle on before, you know, I talk about my Instagram melody. That is the feeling you get. If you did 2-3 swipes of my Instagram, I hope you get a feeling. And that feeling is not static. It is not just one medium. It's not just my face each time. It's not just the shop each time. It's not just a thoughtful post or a throwback. The point is, a melody needs to have a rhythm. It needs to have a beat, to the beat of your brand. Okay, so if you're thinking about your brand as this holistic human thing, what is your music? And if your music, it has to be the pace of your Instagram account. So don't make anything the same. If you're going to post 3 times a week, make sure it's 3 different things. If it was my account, it would be maybe myself doing something, an insight into my world. It then might be something about something I'd learnt, and then it might be my skill or my trade. I would always have a melody through that, like a golden thread. If I'm a colourful account, am I very cool, Scandi chic? Have I got, you know, am I black and white? What are my frames of my Instagram account? So the tip is to make sure that you do not have a quite plain Instagram account. Each time you look at someone's account, you want it to be really resting on the eye, but also have all the different elements that make up your brand. So if it's your skill, why don't you say every Tuesday, I'm going to talk about the skills, not just my own skill in calligraphy, all the calligraphers of the world. On a Thursday, I am going to talk about, because I'm a calligrapher, stationery that I love and my own. And then on a Saturday, I'm going to give you, the person out there, a tip on how to maybe learn calligraphy, how to do a certain style in calligraphy. And then on a Sunday, I'm going to invite people into my home and my space, but all of those things are going to fit. So I really hope, SP Illustrated, that answers your question. I got from Vivi's Kitchen, I don't get enough engagement. I have followers, but not the necessary order for me. Or they don't necessarily order from me. Okay, well, that's interesting. One of the things I think that's amazing about Instagram and having accounts is you can ask people questions. So your followers, go into your followers, you could DM them. Why don't you, from Vivi's Kitchen, I would like you to ask 10 of your followers, what could I do to help you want to buy more from me? Because actually one of the things we all don't do is we don't ask enough questions. We have community, but we don't ask them, what do you want me to do? What we do is we try and predict it. We're like, well, I can't ask them, because if I ask them, they'll not think I'm smart enough to engage with them. If you have 1,000 followers and you asked 100 people, right, that is 1/10 of your Instagram following that you're asking. The 90% won't know you've asked anyone, but guess what? You'll start to see some trends. So because I think that is one of my tips there, Vivi, is go and ask some of your, on DM, so it's private, I really would love to build my business and I'm wondering if I could disturb you. What could I do on my Instagram account to help inspire you to support me? I'd love to hear. Be brutal, be honest. Please give me truthful feedback. Okay, then we've got the proper bow. What works better, Holly? Pictures of products or pictures of the maker and lifestyle? Pictures of products or pictures of makers and lifestyle? Well, it's both. I think my answers to SP Illustrator might have answered your question. It's the melody. Give that consistency. So I would say you want to do both. You want to do beautiful pictures of your products. I've always heard, though, authenticity of product pictures works far better than the sort of magazine style pictures, just so you know. So it's not to say it's a shocking picture of the product, don't get me wrong. Turn the lights on, have a good camera, have a good lighting, but you know, that sort of authentic situation that your product might be used in is better than that sort of stark magazine editorial style. And then mix in your lifestyle. Have a day that's your lifestyle shots, have a day where it's your product, have a day where it's showing the integrity of your brand, the craftsmanship and your skill. Abel and the label, hello. What is the best way to feel connected to your followers and build community on Instagram? Well, something like this I absolutely love doing. I feel the most connected. I will be on a high all day long from doing this. I also think I spend a huge amount of time on DMs. I spend a huge amount of time on comments. You know, you've got to put it in. You cannot expect, you cannot just take. That is the thing about Instagram. It is actually the majority about giving. So if you post something and let's say you're not commenting on all of the comments that you get, or if you have DMs and it takes you an age to get back to people, this is how you, that is the tip that there is, engage with people. Also, the other thing is to feel connected to your followers is to invite new followers in, go and engage in other people's conversation, see what there is out there, because I think that more that you can connect and spark, and who knows what you will find, that is when I absolutely feel so engaged. Crayon box, how can I encourage customers to share their images? My repeated posts get boring. Okay, that's a great question. That is a great tip for us all. If you have got a product or a service or something like that, a subscription box, let's say, if you want to get it out there and get people tagging you back in, well, firstly, do you have a competition running every month that you will be doing an X giveaway if you receive the best photo? Do you have a unique hashtag that is about your community so that someone feels fantastic? You know, I'm not going to give an example because it's going to be shocking if I do it live. I want to understand that if you can encourage people by a competition, can you actually get that feed? So on our website, is there an area on your website that can just be an Instagram poll where you upload all your customers' pictures on there? Could it be that you actually in your email every week, you have a really amazing image right at the top of the best pick of the month or something like that? You know, these are the types of things that I would look at. Bramble and Fox Shop UK, how do I clearly identify and build on my brand's uniqueness? Well, it's an interesting one. I call it the brand heart. I would love you to dissect your heart into 5 sections, and I want you to really think about what makes you unique. Is it your setting where you live? We just heard about Eve from English Stamp Company. They live 10 minutes away from the beach, so I can only imagine that scene that they could have. Is it where you source your materials? The value of your sustainability in your company? Is it your artistic background, your actual, that you need to put in there? Is one of the sections your skill? You need to identify what makes you completely unique. And then from that, I would say a very clear sort of way of looking at that is each part of your heart, that's each one part of your melody of your Instagram. Do you see what I'm trying to say? Build your heart, build what you're unique for. And if there were 5 elements, that's 5 posts a week or 5 posts every 2 weeks, over the 2 weeks. That is a great tip for you to understand what your melody could look like. I've got some other comments. The Tweed Boutique, how did you know about backup? How did we not know about backup? Thanks, Eve. Wilding Interiors, definitely going to get on a newsletter. Thank you so much for this invaluable advice. Story Chaplain, your Insta Lives are always packed with excellent tips. Thank you, Holly. Well, thank you guys for joining me. Thank you, Dell, for helping me bring this to life. And the Thoughtful Potter, joining Instagram challenges like March Meet the Maker can be brilliant. They give they give prompts to give you fresh ideas for your grids. That is such a great tip, Deborah. Lolly and Hare, you are wonderful to bring this to our attention. I've just shared the info on a couple of florists and growers groups too. You've helped so many avoid heartache. I'm so happy. I can probably squeeze in one question here that I've got from the Crafty Pumpkin. What's the best way to get people to sign up to an email newsletter? For me, what it's been is make sure each one of your channels, so channels are ways that you're marketing, okay? So you've got your social media channels, you've got your email channels, you've got your website, etc., etc. Think of them as swimming lanes. Each one of your swimming lanes needs to have a different offering. If I get the same Insta post on Facebook, on the email, on the website, I'll just follow you on Instagram. That's fine. What is your unique channels offering for email? There you go. Is it material? Is it content? Is it offers that no one else will get? Do you give priority? So for instance, when I launched my book, anyone who subscribes to my email, which all of you can do, you head to the website. Every Friday, I do Holly's Desk Notes. You can't see it on my Instagram, Facebook, or anywhere else. This is where I pick the hottest, best stuff that I found and share it with you. And then I release my book 24 hours earlier than anyone else. That is a great tip for you to understand. Remember, guys, I've got 1 minute to go here. Remember, guys, hello, Holly's Gin. God, I can see her. This is just so brilliant that I've got my eyesight back. Remember, I'm going to share these tips and advice on stories now. Strong passwords. Everyone's homework. Please tag me. I'm going to release this as an IGTV on the grid. Tag me and comment that you've done it. Give me those thumbs up. Strong passwords, two-factor authentication, and never give your Instagram passwords to anyone. That is your homework. Remember, you can DM me, you can comment here, anything that I've not answered, and anyone I have answered, I'll be getting my notepad straight to you. Anyone I haven't answered, I want you to know that we will be picking up those things, and make sure you tune in every single Wednesday, because I will be here, thanks to Dell, for Holly's Business Pharmacy. And you know what? This year, I'm promising you now, remember I'm a doctor, so I know what I'm talking about. This year, we are going to thrive. That's it. Over and out, everyone. Lots of love to you all, and I really hope that's helped. Big kiss.